Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica, and today I'm sharing with you my February 2022 TBR. The first category is carryovers from January. I do have a couple of carryovers. The first one is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is part of the Grishaverse. It's the last duology in the series, and it focuses on King Nikolai. I've been buddy reading the series with my friend Johara at the Witchy Reader, and I just wasn't able to get through this book in January, so we're carrying it over into February. I'm sorry, friend. The second carryover from January is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is an adult thriller. It is about a couple. It's a domestic thriller, so it's about a couple who... Oh my goodness, you scared the bejesus out of me. This is Pie, also known as Stealth Cat. So yeah, that's the thriller. It's an isolated setting in the middle of a blizzard at a place where they're not sure who owns the place. It's like a creepy old building and their marriage is falling apart. I'm about halfway through that one. So, carry it on over. Today is, when I'm filming this, it's February 2nd, and I'm hoping that I can finish it either today or tomorrow. I don't know if you can see Pie over here, but she really wants to be part of the show today. The next category is book clubs. The first book club that I am a part of is the Killing Time with Cozy's Cozy Mystery Book Club. And for that book club, we draw prompts every month and then find books on our TBR that meet those prompts. So the first prompt for February was a wedding theme. For this, I will be reading Engaged in Death by Stephanie Blackmore. This is an author that will be new to me, a series that will be new to me. Let me read you the premise from Goodreads. All appears peaceful in sleepy Port Quincy, Pennsylvania. But in a small town, old grudges die hard. After dumping her cheating fiancé and canceling the wedding, Mallory Shepard can't bear another disaster. So when the former bride-to-be unexpectedly inherits Thistle Park, a ramshackle mansion in her ex's hometown of Port Quincy, it's a problem she can't afford, literally. Abound with stray cats, peeling wallpaper, and nosy neighbors, Mallory is dying to sell it off when she finally fixes up both the place and her messy life. It turns out Thistle Park has its charms, but the honeymoon phase is abruptly cut short when an unwanted visitor is found dead on the front lawn. The second prompt that we had for February was a book with a skull on the cover. For that, I will be reading Ghostly Interests by Lily Harper Hart. This is also a new to me author and a new to me series. Harper Harlow lives in a world of ghosts. She sees them, she talks to them, she investigates them. She sends them on their merry way. She's not embarrassed by her abilities, and she's not afraid to be who she is. She's also not looking for a relationship. Enter Jared Monroe, a smooth-talking police detective who sees things in black and white and ignores any shades of gray. He doesn't believe in ghosts, and while he's intrigued by the feisty blonde ghost detective, he's not interested in the paranormal. When 21-year-old Annie Dresden's body washes up on the beach of Whisper Cove, Harper and Jared collide. Sparks may be flying, but so is confusion and mistrust. Harper calls on her loyal band of ghost hunters to solve the crime, and Jared relies on his training to tackle the same problem. It doesn't matter what approach they take because all paths are destined to intersect. That sounds like a pretty standard paranormal cozy mystery. I think I do like the paranormal cozies. One of my favorite series is the Spellford Cove series by Samantha Silver, and that series definitely has some pretty glaring writing issues. But I don't know, I enjoyed it enough to look past those issues. So I'm wondering if maybe paranormal cozies are kind of an area that I especially like within the cozy genre. The next book club that I am a part of is the Middle Grade Monthly Book Club, and their pick for February is The Ice Whisperers by Helenka Sechera. I would like to read this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a hold of a copy from my library. I put it on hold like several weeks ago, and it still hasn't come in yet. So that may be one that I just don't get to this month. The next category is Readalongs, Readathons, and Reading Challenges. The first read-along I'll be participating in is my own read-along in the month of February of the book Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This is a literary thriller, and it's about a movie director named Stanislaus Cordova who has like this aura of mystery about him. His daughter Ashley dies of what is deemed a suicide, but there's a journalist who doesn't think that that's the case, and so this journalist begins to investigate, and things just kind of unravel and turn into this wild story from there. This is a reread for me because in February I decided, since February is my birthday, we'll do a read-along here at the Lovestead every February of one of my all-time favorite books. And this is one that I've been itching to reread, so it's the one we're doing. I will leave a link to the announcement video that has all of the read-along details up here. There's still time to join in if you want to join us, because we're going to be reading this all month. I really hope you join me. I'm curious to know what everybody thinks. I've heard a lot of differing opinions about this book. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people think it's just okay. So I think it'll make for an interesting discussion, if nothing else. The next read-along that I'm participating in is hosted by Sasha at the Wild Sasha and one other booktuber who I cannot remember right now, but all of their information will be in the description box below, as it always is. And it is a read-along of the Greenbone Saga. The first book in that series is Jade City. This is by Fonda Lee. All I really know about this is that it's like a fantasy mafia story, which sounds really, really cool to me. I've heard nothing but great things about this book series, and it is on my Serious About Series reading challenge. So when I saw Sasha was hosting a read-along of this series, I had to jump on board. And so the first book is Jade City, and we're reading it this month. Okay. The next readathon that I'm participating in is Polarathon. This is a readathon that's happened for about 4 years now, and it's hosted and created by Jade at JD Ray Reads. This year, the goal of Polarathon is to get to the Winter Witch, I think is who it is. So she has this really cute graphic where you climb the mountain with your prompts to get to the Winter Witch. There are 3 different ways you can do that. There's 2 teams. There's the Arctic Animals and the Polar Explorers, and then you could take the Pilgrim's Path, which is when you don't join any team, but you have a different set of prompts. So for me, I am joining the Arctic Animals team, and this one is hosted by Pris at Pris Sprints. The prompts for my team are a book with cozy vibes, a book with a snowy cover, a book with an animal friend, an Arctic setting, and just a straight up polar fantasy. So I actually am going to be using rock, paper, scissors for the book with a snowy cover. I wanted to use The Ice Whisperers by Helenka Sechera for this, but again, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get my hands on that book. So I am substituting rock, paper, scissors for that particular prompt. For the book with cozy vibes, I will be reading The Winter House Mysteries by Ben Gooderson. This is the 3rd book in the Winter House trilogy. It is a middle grade sort of mystery fantasy set in a hotel called Winter House that like is perpetual winter. So this is about Elizabeth who lives at Winter House, and she solves puzzles with her friends and goes on adventures. This series is just so cozy and soothing, and I read the first 2 in January, and I'm excited to get through this one. So this will count for the cozy vibes. And then for Animal Friend, Arctic setting, and polar fantasy, I will be reading Frostheart, Escape from Aurora by Jamie Littler. This is the 2nd book in the Frostheart trilogy. I read the first book in the Frost Heart series in January, and so I'm excited to continue on. This is about Ash, and he lives in like this polar dystopia. He has a guardian yeti, which will be the animal friend, and they boarded a ship in the first book called the Frost Heart, and they go on this adventure, and then this just continues that adventure. Ultimately, the main point, or the main objective that Ash has, is to find his parents who went missing several years ago on their own voyage. So I'll be interested to see where this goes. Yep, there's that one. So those are the 3 books that I'll read for Polarathon. We're actually in the middle of Polarathon right now because it is the first week of February. The next readathon I'm participating in is Blackathon, and this is a celebration of Black literature written by Black authors. It's hosted by Jesse at Bowties and Books, and there are teams for this one as well. I will be joining Team Literary, Contemporary, and Non-Fiction. So the prompts for this one are a book that explores the duality of blood or found family. 2 is a book that is not set in the US, UK, or Canada. 3 is a book with neon on the cover. And then there's a group book called Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. Black Girls Must Die Exhausted sounds like an amazing book, but it isn't released until the middle of February, and so I doubt that I'll be able to get to that because new releases like that at my library have holds like 6 months out. So unfortunately, I won't be able to participate in the group read. But I have some books picked out. And I've got some nonfiction that I want to read since it is team nonfiction that I'll be reading on audiobook. And I don't really know, like what prompt they'll fit into here, but I have some other books picked out that I want to read physically as well. And I know this is technically not literary or contemporary or nonfiction, but I want to read this Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayram. This is a library copy, but I have my own edition coming in the mail as we speak. And this is also a book that I have on my 5-star predictions list, so I figured, why not? It also has neon on the cover. So it does meet a prompt, even though it's technically not nonfiction, literary, or contemporary. It does have neon on the cover. This is about Bree, who is able to grow plants just by touching them, and she inherits something from a relative who passes that is full of menacing botanicals, and just has some interesting found family vibes in it, some interesting family dynamic stuff going on. So I think this also ties into that prompt about the blood and found family. So I am excited to read this. I absolutely love gardening, and so wow, you are getting a lot of cat action in this video, y'all. This is Cherry. This is Pie. Together they're a cherry pie. But anyway, yeah, I really want to read this. I'm looking forward to it. It's on my 5-star predictions list. And then I do have a book that I actually consider a modern classic, and it is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I have been wanting to read this one for years, literally almost a decade. I've been wanting to read this book, and it fits into, that contemporary literary category really well. I think this one also fits into the found family prompt. So it says this is set in post-Civil War Ohio, and it is an escaped slave who has risked death in order to wrench herself from a living death, who has lost a husband and buried a child. She lives in a small house on the edge of town with her daughter, her mother-in-law, baby Suggs, and a disturbing, mesmerizing intruder who calls herself Beloved. So I think Beloved in this is like a ghost. There's some sort of element of a ghost story in this book. And I love Toni Morrison. I've read The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison and just some essays that she's written, and just her work is so phenomenal. And I do consider this a modern classic. So that's one I'm excited to read. I mean, I'm excited to read all of these. Why do I keep saying that? You want to read it? You want to read Beloved? Meow. She wants to eat Beloved. There's another readathon that I'd like to participate in, but I don't have a set TBR for it. It's going to be one of those things that, like, I'll just fill in books as I'm able to, but it's Mr. Francie's first readathon, so I want to support him. And it's called Cozy Up with Mr. Francie, and he's doing a readathon focused on cozy mysteries. So he has a bingo board for this, and the prompts are a cozy with food on the cover, a cozy by an author you've never read, which I'll get that done because the two that I'm reading for book club I've never read, a cozy by an author you have read, cozy on audiobook, cozy with the word murder in the title, a culinary cozy, an arts and crafts cozy, a paranormal or fantasy cozy, which I'll be able to check that one off, and then a cozy with the prettiest cover. So those are the prompts for that one. And like I said, I don't have a strict TBR because I've got a lot of books I'm trying to fit into the month of February, of course, the shortest month of the year. But I will try to just kind of fill in what I can as I'm able to. The next category is buddy reads, and Johara and I will wrap up our buddy read of King of Scars, and then we will continue on to read Rule of Wolves, so that will finish up the duology here this month. That's by League Bardugo. I feel like everybody knows the Grishaverse series by now, but the Grishaverse starts with Shadow and Bone, and then it moves into Six of Crows, and then it wraps up with the King of Scars duology. So it is what the Netflix show Shadow and Bone is based on. There you have it. And then the other book that I would like to buddy read is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I still don't have any takers for this buddy read. So if any of you watching are interested, please let me know. I'm going to read this month regardless of whether or not someone buddy reads it with me, but I would really prefer to have someone read it with me. So let me know if you're interested. The next read-along that I am participating in is the Out of the Coffin read-along. This is hosted by my friends Amy at BookTube with Amy and Ange at Ange's Book Chatter. We are reading all of the Sookie Stackhouse vampire mysteries throughout the year. And in January, we read Dead Until Dark, which was the first book. And then in February, we're reading Living Dead in Dallas, which is book 2. This is written by Charlaine Harris, and some of you might know Charlaine Harris because of her cozy mystery series called The Aurora Tea Garden. So this is what the TV show True Blood is based on, if you've ever watched True Blood. And the first book stayed really true to the show, so I'll be interested to see if this diverges at all. This is about Sookie, who is a waitress at a bar in Louisiana. She can read people's minds. She falls in love with a vampire named Bill, and Bill just kind of introduces her to vampire culture and all things vampire. There are shapeshifters. The first book, yes? What else? Okay. Did you like the first Sookie Stackhouse book? Yeah? What did you rate it? 5 stars? Yeah, okay. So Cherry gives Sookie Stackhouse Mysteries 5 stars. I would like to just chat a little bit about how this list of books fits into my goals for the year. I know I haven't released all of my videos related to goals just yet, but you'll see how it all lines up when they're finally released. Actually, my next video, I think, if I can stay on schedule, will be discussing my reading goals for the year. But first up, I did post my Serious About Series challenge. I'll link you to it up here, where I shared the series that I want to read in 2022. And I am making some progress with that. The Sookie Stackhouse series was on my SAS list, so I'll be reading book 2. King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, that duology was on my SAS list, so I'll be getting through those. And Jade City was also on my SAS list. So those are the books that are contributing to that particular goal for the year. Another reading goal that I have for the year is to read 12 classics, so basically one classic a month. And I do consider Beloved a modern classic, so that contributes to that goal. I have a video coming out soon of books that I believe will be 5-star reads for me. It's called my 5-star predictions. And this is on that list of 5-star predictions. So that checks off that goal. I shared with you buddy reads that I'd like to do in 2022. I'll link you to that video up here. And Beartown is one book that was on that list of books that I would like to buddy read. I have a goal to read at least one book from my physical TBR every month. And for that, we've got Frostheart. This is on my physical TBR. Night Film, even though it's a reread. And then I do have my own copy of This Poison Heart coming to me in the mail. So it is technically from my own TBR. And then the last goal that I'm working on is reading more Kindle Unlimited books. And for that, King of Scars is on Kindle Unlimited. Engaged in Death is on Kindle Unlimited. And Ghostly Interests is on Kindle Unlimited. This is a pretty big reading list for me for the month of February. Like I said, it's the shortest month of February, and these books are all pretty chunky. I really want to get to them all because they're books that I've just been anticipating for a long time. They're books that I think I will love. So fingers crossed that I get through them all. I think this might be a month where I do a whole lot of, what is it called? Revenge bedtime procrastination. Look it up. It's a thing, and I do it. All right, that's it for today's kind of chaotic TBR video. I hope you appreciated the cat chaos that tends to happen here at the Lovestead. If you just want to let me know that you are here, go ahead and leave me a Valentine emoji in the chat, whether it is a heart, a kissy face, a flower. Leave me a Valentine. I'll give you a Valentine back. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!